Hey everybody, it's Joe Flash here, and today I'm here to do a special video for you guys here on this channel. And so most of you guys, especially those of you that are a fan of the YouTube series Real World, excuse me, sorry, it's really hard to try to say this without slowing down, but Real World Meets Equestria Girls. For you, those of you that are a fan of the series, you were probably expecting to believe that this video was going to be an updated a video update regarding when episode 2 will be announced and released. Well, unfortunately, it's not the case. Still no words yet on when episode 2 will be released. I know you guys have been waiting for nearly almost half a year now for it. We're sorry that if it's been keeping you guys waiting for too long. Thankfully I haven't had a lot of people complain about it in the comments and stuff, but you know what? I'm just glad that y'all are patient because, you wouldn't be able to understand how busy Alex is these days, you know what I mean? It's tough, but he is still working on it. I was hanging with him actually a couple days ago, along with our friend Andrea, who voices Rarity, and he showed me a little bit more about what he's got so far. Episode 2, it's halfway done, so I've been saying that in almost every time I've been trying to describe about how much it's done, but he keeps getting more and more, a little bit more, you know what I'm saying? There's just so much getting in the way, but hopefully the time will come and we will announce the announcement for when episode 2 will be released. But until then, I thought I'd make a special video for you guys to hopefully keep y'all busy until or unless whenever episode 2 is announced. So I thought it would be a good idea that maybe for those of you that probably maybe had asked about it before, maybe to yourselves or whenever, I thought that this would be a cool opportunity that to keep y'all busy and to keep y'all with something to watch until episode 2 is announced. I tell you all a story today. This is the story that will be a bit interesting in a way and somewhat kind of a little bit confusing maybe, I don't know. But basically the story that I'm going to tell you is that how I became an MOP fan slash a Brony. Because I figured this would be a good idea because, there was a couple video ideas I had in mind to maybe keep you guys busy on this channel until episode 2 is announced, and this was one of them. This wasn't actually one of my original ideas for a video to keep you guys busy, but shoutouts to Blue Bolt if he's watching this video. Blue Bolt is a fellow Brony who followed me on Instagram, and he was actually, in fact, at HarmonyCon last month when Alex and I went, but I didn't get to see him, unfortunately, because it was still nude at the time, but I subscribed to his channel recently on my first YouTube channel, Joe Flash 6.7. If you haven't subscribed to that channel already yet, I talked to him a little bit on Instagram as well when he was doing something on his Instagram story, and I told him a little bit of information about how I became a fan, and I started texting, I wonder if I should make a YouTube video about this. So this is what I'm here to do. He said it would be a good idea. I, for some reason, wasn't sure if it was or not. Took me like weeks for me to really think about if I really wanted to make this video or not, but I finally decided to do it. I don't know why it took me this long to finally do it, but I figured this would be worth better than enough to keep y'all busy until when episode 2 of Real World Meets Equestria Girls is announced. So sit back, relax, take a drink, have some snacks, whatever you guys like doing best, as I tell you all the story today about how I became a Brony and an MLP fan. Excuse me. All right. So, once again, shoutouts to Blue Bolt for inspiring me to make this video. So, every good story has to start from the very, very beginning, right? So we're going to take it all the way back to 11 years ago, a whole decade ago, back in 2013, where not only I became an MOP fan and a Brony for the very first time, but at that same exact year, the very first My Little Pony Equestria Girls movie would be released in that year. And in case you want to know how old I was at the time when I first became a fan, well, believe it or not, I was 11 years old. I had to think about it because I couldn't remember, but usually I'm at one age towards half of the year, and then towards the other half, towards maybe when it's starting to progress towards the end of the year, I start to turn the next age, because my birthday is on August 20th. This year I will be turning 22, just to let you know. I'm 21 years old, so at the time, in 2013, I was about 10 and 11 years old. The movie was released on sometime in June. That's where the Equestria Girls movie was released in the USA. It was released sometime in June, so I was 10 years old at the time. But since I didn't become a fan until after my birthday, therefore I was 11 years old at the time. So let's start from the beginning. So at this time period, I was just an 11-year-old boy who was going to a school in a different location compared to where I live here. I was just doing, just my childhood things. I was just trying to learn, making friends, just interested in all the other stuff that I used to be into beforehand and all that. So I was just doing just my thing, I guess you could say, you know what I mean? And then one day, things would start to be the start of a brand new, I guess you could say, chapter into my life that would lead to where I am today. So, in this location to where I used to once went to school in for a little while, and then also there used to be this place that they used to have called Family Video. If you guys are familiar with Family Video, then maybe you have heard of it, or maybe you visited the place yourself. But if you aren't, then let me explain. Family Video was a place that was full of DVDs and video games for kids, adults, families to rent, where you rent them for like a certain amount of days, take them home, and then you take them back after then, you know what I mean? It was a pretty fun place. I've visited quite for a number of years, I was already like visiting it, I think, for maybe a couple years or something prior to that in 2013, but I don't know. Sorry, I gotta clear my voice. So I went to a place called Family Video. Just to let you know, it's no longer in business now. It went out of business because of the pandemic in 2020, which is sad. But I used to love going there. And usually when you enter the door, one of the first fewest shelves you would always see when entering the door was a kids section shelf, where it would be right on the right as soon as you enter the door. It was a kids section that was full of like kids DVDs and series, well, mostly DVDs and stuff like that, like movies and more. And in that time, there would be this movie that was related to My Little Pony, which at the time I was not interested at all because, most people kind of, well, some people aren't, and, some people aren't too fascinated at first until they get into it. If you know the stories, Prior to that, I did at least heard of My Little Pony at the time when I, used to have some VHSs of, Nick Jr., shows and all that stuff on VHS. There used to be, a commercial of the My Little Pony, A Very Minty Christmas, which was the Generation 3 version, which I was not interested at the time, and then even when Generation 4 was beginning, I had no idea what was going on because I wasn't into MLP then yet. But at that time, the first Equestria Girls movie was then seen on the shelves. And as much as at the time I wasn't into My Little Pony to care about it then yet, something would just click. When I saw the DVD cover of the first Equestria Girls movie on the shelf, I don't know. Something would just click. When I saw the DVD cover, I would notice that there was a pony looking into the mirror to see her human counterpart, which would later be revealed as Twilight Sparkle, but because I wasn't a fan then yet, I didn't know who it was. But she would look into the mirror and see her human self, which would be the cover. And then on the back side, it would be her as well as her friends that are the main characters of the series that were also human, as well as their little sidekick, who was apparently a dog. When originally he was a dragon, and then everybody else, of course, originally is ponies, as I already knew that for a fact. If you've seen the DVD case, you already know what it looks like. But since I didn't know who they were then yet, I didn't know what to make of it. But for some reason, something just clicked. When I just saw that this pony, looking into the mirror of her human counterpart, it just looked interesting. I don't know why that is. I even then would even compare it to, when I looked for an actual copy of MLP, to compare it to what they looked like in pony form compared to their human form. I don't know why. It just looked interesting just seeing them in human form. I guess maybe because it's possible that maybe at the time I was starting to get into multiverse stuff. Multiverse wasn't a big thing back then in 2013, but I was starting to get a little bit into it and was starting to learn a little bit more before multiverse now became a big thing as it is now, especially what's going on in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I've seen I played this video game at the time called Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, which is like a multiverse Spider-Man game, and then there was also this movie called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles Forever, which would be another concept, where at the time it went through the 2003 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series versions of them, meeting the original TV series versions of the 1987 versions of them. So two different dimension turtle groups meeting with each other and saving all turtle dimensions. So if you've seen if you've seen that movie as well as play Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, and you know what I'm talking about. So I was starting to become new to the multiverse at the time. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a big thing yet, but it was kind of starting to just slowly starting to grow. You know what I mean? So because of that, I loved the movie and I loved the game. It started to get me thought process about what I was seeing in this cover of the DVD of My Little Pony Equestria Girls. Well, I did have a question in mind when I did see it. Did these girls, did these characters transform into humans, or was it an alternate dimension of them as humans? Well, that was a big question, but at the time when I did see the DVD case cover, I did assume to think that it was the characters transformed into humans. Mainly because what threw me off to making me believe that it was the ponies transformed into humans was the fact that on the back of the DVD case cover, as well as on the front cover of the DVD case of My Little Pony Equestria Girls, the characters had pony ears, they had little extended tails, extended braids that would be like their ponytails, and some of them who had wings because some of them were Pegasus. So that's what threw me off into making me believe to thinking that it was the ponies transformed into humans. So I didn't really think it was a multiverse thing, like it was an alternate dimension. I mostly was willing to believe it was the characters transformed into humans. So that's what threw me off. But as I kept looking at it more and more and more, or even after when I quit looking at it, it just stayed stuck in my head and I couldn't take my mind off of it. Now, I don't know if I got it on the exact same day I saw it, or if it took me like another week or something later to get it. But time progressed and I just kept getting more fascinated by just seeing how it looked, just seeing the characters in human form, that eventually I just decided I have to check this out, because with me being a little bit grown into like transdimensional stuff at the time, with like Spider-Man and Ninja Turtles, things for them, I felt like I needed to check this out and see what this was all about, because it was fascinating me. Like, it looked interesting. So, I grabbed a copy of the DVD. I went to tell Mom about it, ask her if it was okay, because, sometimes when you're young, parents would tell you that stuff is only for girls and stuff like that. You know that old saying. So I showed it to Mom, asked her about it, and she kind of gave me the warning about it being for girls, but I could have cared less because I just wanted to see what this was about, because it just looked interesting, me just seeing that the ponies were human, you know what I mean? Like, I just couldn't take my eyes off of it. So I rented the DVD. I rented a few others as well. There was like a certainty of DVDs I used to rent as well as video games. But I rented it, took it home, and as soon as I got home, I went straight into my room. Not this room, but the room that my parents are now in. That used to be my room at the time. And with my mom being in the living room, which I don't know what she was doing then, was she was talking to Dad or something, but it gave me the perfect opportunity for me to be able to watch it by myself in my room at the time. So I went home, put it in, immediately watched it, I believe. And I wasn't sure what to expect, but I still was willing to believe to thinking that it was the ponies transformed into humans. But I had to find out for myself. And plus, at the same time, I didn't have YouTube then yet. My parents, none of us had any of those special kind of phones that allowed you to watch YouTube or computers or nothing. So I was not even aware of the trailers. So, I've never seen the trailers before until I saw it just a few weeks ago recently. I saw both trailers of the first Equestria Girls movie to finally see if they in fact did reveal what the story was behind it. So if I were to have seen the trailers on YouTube, then I would have understood what was going on in the movie in some ways. But because I didn't see them, that was what made me believe to thinking that it was going to be basically them transformed into humans. But the trailers did in fact reveal that it was an alternate dimension where the main character, Twilight, meets her friends in an alternate universe that are not the same versions, that the same ones that she meets in pony form. It's not her pony friends, it's an alternate dimension where her friends are humans. So, everyone is a human, you know what I mean? But because I didn't see the trailers, I thought they was ponies transformed to humans. So like I said, I put the DVD in, started watching it, immediately pressed play, and the theme song, which was the opening title sequence, played in the main menu screen, and it sounded kind of cool. It was actually kind of a cool opening, but then I played it, and it started off in the pony universe, because this was just the first of the Equestria Girls movie, and it was truly fascinating. I wasn't knowing what to expect, but as the movie kept progressing more and more and more, things just kept getting more interesting, fascinating, was blowing my mind away. I was getting into it. I didn't even take my eyes off of it for one single second. You know what I mean? It's like I was hypnotized into watching. I did not want to miss a single thing in the movie. And by the end, after when the movie was over, I just was talking to myself out loud because, my parents weren't in the room with me. I mean, sometimes I should be talking inside my head, but sometimes I can't help but get a habit of talking to myself out loud because, sometimes I wish there'd be a person next to me, talking to me. I talked to myself out loud after the movie was over, and I said that I liked it. So I loved the movie. It was fun. It was a great movie. it blew me away. It was fun. It was just enjoyable. And I think I did watch it again maybe shortly after. I don't know. But it definitely had me stuck in my brain for quite some time. Now, at that time period, whenever I went to Family Video, it used to always be on Fridays because those were always good days, you know? So I'm pretty sure I'm willing to believe when I got the movie, I rented it on a Friday. And, you know, school days, it's Mondays through Fridays. You get weekends off on Saturday and Sunday. So I spent the weekend, I think, watching it again, as well as trying to process what I thought, even when I was trying to focus on other stuff. And when I went to school eventually, back then on Monday, this is where things were starting to change because I actually liked the movie. And I started to process on what I saw. So then I used my leap pad at the time to record a video from the TV of one of my favorite songs from the movie, which is still one of my favorite Equestria Girl songs to this very day, which is the Cafeteria song / helping Twilight win the crown. And then I also started making drawings because I kind of used to be an artist at this time, where I was making fan arts of all of the main 7 characters in the movie. Now, at this time period, I was trying to hide it from my friends because I was afraid that I would get bullied for it because, you know, the fact that all of a sudden I was just now getting into something like this would have been a reasoning to be bullied, you know, and I was only 11 years old as well, so I tried to hide it from my friends at first, but once they started seeing my fan art drawings and everything, they started to slowly figure out that I was becoming interested into something that they would have never thought I'd ever be into. So eventually, when enough of my friends saw my drawings and all that stuff and figured out what was going on, I eventually embraced it and I spoke out to a lot of my friends on what I was becoming a fan of. I even showed them the video from my leap pad of when I recorded the scene from the movie of like the Cafeteria song, and as soon as they saw Rainbow Dash on there, they immediately knew who it was, even if it was a human version of the character, you know? So I did learn all the characters' names, as I did learn it was Twilight Sparkle, Rarity, Applejack, Rainbow Dash, Pinkie Pie, Fluttershy. I learned them all, you know? And Spike, you know, and all that stuff. So I did learn everybody. But I still wasn't fully into knowing what it is in yet because this was only my first time starting to get into something MLP related. But as time progressed, thanks to this movie being successful and me liking it, I then went back to Family Video and I rented the other DVDs, which was DVDs of the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic series, which were episodes from some of the series, you know, DVDs and all that stuff. And I started liking those episodes as well, because it even taught me a bit of thing about friendship. And that's what's good about the series, you know, it actually teaches you some things in life. And there's probably a reason why this series became more successful than it did with just kids and why we have the Brony community existing as it is now. But again, since I didn't have YouTube at the time, I didn't know that there was a thing called the Brony Club, which was like adult fans of MLP. Although I was young at the time, I was 11 years old, so therefore I don't know if I would have exactly been accounted for as a Brony, but I guess you could still say I was, because even though I wasn't an adult, but you get the point. So anyway, I started watching more of like the DVDs of like some of the MLP Friendship is Magic series episodes and stuff, and I started to slowly get into it even more and more and more. And I even did try renting the DVDs for the Generation 3 My Little Pony DVDs that they had at the time, and my reaction, yeah, I didn't really care that much. It was interesting, but wasn't interesting me enough like Generation 4 Friendship is Magic, so I didn't really care too much about the Generation 3 version. It just didn't have the same atmosphere as the Generation 4 episodes. I was like, yeah, I'm probably not going to watch this again. It's okay, but it's just like Generation 3 and the previous generations are more of an approach to kids on just how the presentation is compared to Generation 4, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, moving on. So after then, I started to slowly become a fan. I started checking out more of it and more of that stuff. I mean, I still didn't have YouTube at the time then yet, but I learned some of the songs, rented more of the DVDs, and slowly but surely, then as the years progressed on, like in 2014, 2015, 2016, the next 3 Equestria Girls movies would be released, and I ended up then loving the second Equestria Girls movie, Rainbow Rocks, third one, Friendship Games, and the fourth one, Legend of Everfree. And in case you're wondering which out of the 4 is my favorite currently right now, it's the fourth one, Legend of Everfree. The next 3 movies that came out were very fun. Like, I remember in 2014 when Rainbow Rocks came out, I didn't know that the movie was being released because I didn't have YouTube, but there was always this little menu you can get from Family Video that showed you about the certainties of like when movies were going to come to the building, and I learned that a second Equestria Girls movie was being made called Rainbow Rocks. And I did kind of learn the name by dolls because, you know, then when I started becoming an MLP fan, I started looking at the MLP section in Walmart and stuff and saw that they had dolls which had the title My Little Pony Equestria Girls Rainbow Rocks on them, which I didn't know it was being made into a movie. So they were already making dolls based off of like their outfits from the movie when it hadn't even been released then yet. Like it was to like promote the movie. Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of. Sorry, I was trying to think of the right word. But I still didn't know that they were making another one. So the second movie would then be released in 2014, and as I said, I loved it more than the first one. The character who was the main antagonist of the first one, Sunset Shimmer, would reappear in that movie, and I even started actually turning my opinions around on her because, you know, like kids, they would dislike villains and then they would like heroes. So I used to not like Sunset Shimmer. I used to hate her because she used to be a villain in the first movie, but after showing her redemption side in the second movie, I started to grow to actually start to love her. And then I figured out that then the third movie was coming out in 2015 when I found the website on computer, when I finally got to start using computers, like even when I came back to the schools here in my hometown and found the website to play some games and stuff on that website, and that was when I learned that they were making a third movie, and I figured that was coming out sometime soon, and it was called Friendship Games. There was a little bit of details regarding to what was going to happen in the movie, you know, description kind of, just like it does on the back of a DVD, but I still had to wait to see the movie itself to understand, and when the third movie came out, I rented it, saw it, and I loved it. You know, I even started liking Sunset even more because, you know, she was becoming a good guy, and plus she was the one who ultimately ended up defeating the main well, not the main antagonist, but the one who would become, like, the villain in some way in the third movie, which was the human version of Twilight. You know what I mean? But, you know, I learned and more and more. And then a fourth movie was then being announced in 2016, and I was at middle school in the time, and I saw some little clips of scenes from the movie, and then apparently a YouTuber uploaded the full movie on YouTube, and I saw it that way. So I ended up actually watching the fourth movie on YouTube before I even got to wait for it to be released on DVD. So that's how I saw the fourth movie. Like, it was in a school one day during lunch, and I saw the entire movie during lunch, and loved that movie too. Legend of Everfree then became my new favorite. It's like each movie of the Equestria Girls kept getting better and better and better. And then, you know, I didn't think that they made anything else after the fourth movie, but little then when I discovered then sooner or later on YouTube that they did continue on with then making shorts and digital series and all that stuff, and then learned more, and even did check out more Friendship is Magic episodes in the meantime, while in the end I was still really more of an Equestria Girls fan. But the Equestria Girls is the reason why I became an MOP fan and became a Brony. So that's why I love them more than I love Friendship is Magic, or at least that's one of the reasons why. Because they're the ones that really helped me to become the fan that I am today and doing what I'm doing right now, especially with doing what I'm doing right now with my best friend Alex, making the series for you guys called Reroll Meets Equestria Girls. So there's that as well. So, you know, that's the story. That's how I became a fan. And I could explain things more and more about each year, but you get the point. I became more and more a fan. You know, I loved it even more. I liked it more, learned more. So I didn't really need to go into detail about each and every single year, because what was really the main purpose of the story of how I became an MOP fan and a Brony was how watching the first Equestria Girls movie helped me to elevate and become a fan of something that I never thought I'd ever become a fan of. Even till this very day, I still never would have ever thought I'd become a fan of MOP that I am today. I mean, think about it. I have, like, photo edits, you know, that I'm doing on the PixArt app and uploading on my Instagram, reacting to videos on my first channel of MLP-related content. I even have, like, my OC Pony character as my profile picture on my first YouTube channel, and then I got my OC Equestria Girls character on this channel here as my profile picture, and, you know, how things have certainly changed over the years. Heck, I even got to do lots of amazing stuff. I got to then meet some other friends that were into MLP like me. I do the fun stuff that I'm doing now, making PixArt apps of, you know, putting images of the Equestria Girls into real-life pictures, and I have some printed on my wall over there. And then I got this, that what you can't see, but it's right above me, where I went to Six Flags and got an artist to make an art of me and Sunset Shimmer. And then right across from where I'm at right here, while I'm looking straight at it, last year when I went to Fan Expo with my best friend Alex, I got to meet the voice actress for Twilight Sparkle herself, Tara Strong. Got a photo booth picture with her, with me and Alex both. And I even, then last year for my birthday, as my best friend Alex and my two friends Andrea and Anna, which, by the way, Andrea voices Rarity and Anna voices Fluttershy in Where We'll Meet the Equestria Girls. They all paid money together on Cameo to then get Andrea Libman, aka Pinkie Pie and Fluttershy, to wish me happy birthday in her Fluttershy voice. And I still have that video saved into my gallery somewhere because it was such a special present, birthday present. It's probably the best birthday gift I think anyone's ever given me so far. Because seriously, I wasn't even expecting it. I was shocked the entire time. I mean, Alex even has the video on his Instagram account of, of my reaction. Like Anna was recording, showing the TV of the video, and then you see my reactions of just how shocked I was that I was receiving a voice message, like a video message from Andrea Libman in her Fluttershy voice. It was just crazy, you know what I mean? And things have just changed since. Each year it's like things just kept getting more fascinating and more interesting about Equestria Girls and Friendship is Magic both, but really mostly in particular Equestria Girls. So yeah, that's how the story of how I became a fan, and that's the reason why I'm a fan today and why I'm a brony. And I've been embracing it for a very long time, and thank goodness I haven't been bullied about for it. Now, the first time I did become a fan back in 2013, there was a couple, just only a small handful of kids that did bully me, but as time did progress, when I went back to schools here in my hometown and much more, I wasn't getting bullied for it much anymore. And, fans were fine with, and people, my friends and fans, they were fine with me being what I'm into, I mean, I'm into other stuff that not too many people my age would probably be into, like the Wiggles, or other stuff too, like there's a lot of things in life, but the Wiggles would be another good example because they were my childhood bands back in the 2000s when I was a kid. I discovered them when I was 2 years old in 2004 on the Disney, Playhouse Disney, and been a fan ever since, and still a fan of them till this very day because out of all the childhoods I've watched, they're still my favorite childhood, and I still love their music and still love the original members, Anthony, Greg, Jeff, and Murray, you know what I mean? So, can't be any difference compared to that, too, you know what I mean? So there's really not much else to say other than I've told you the main story from 2013 on how I first became a fan and how each and every single year it just became the Equestria Girls and Friendship is Magic both, but mostly particularly Equestria Girls kept getting more interesting and more fascinating that I just became more and more and more of a fan. And there's just not really much else to say. So if it wasn't for the Equestria Girls first movie that came out back in 2013, I wouldn't be the fan that I am today. So, I owe it all to them. I really do. It's kind of a shame that nowadays the first Equestria Girls movie, like when talking about all four of the movies, the first one is the least favorite out of all the fans. And it's kind of a shame because I think it deserves more credit than it does because a lot of fans, especially even my best friend Alex even admits that he thinks that the first Equestria Girls movie is like the weakest and the least favorite. It's got the weakest like story or something compared to the other two movies that followed, Rainbow Rocks, Friendship Games, and Legend of Everfree. But I still say the first Equestria Girls movie deserves the credit it deserves because it helped me become a fan, and plus, it became a mighty success to the surprise of Hasbro and DHX Media because Alex went on to even then tell me, which I never knew before, Equestria Girls was only meant to be a one-time only project with this first movie. It was only meant to be a one-time only thing, which Alex claims that it was probably to compete against Monster High that was going on at the time, or something like that, but if you know the story, you know it. But it was meant to be a one-time only thing. But because the first movie received such great reviews and was such a success, that DHX Media and Hasbro, or whoever's in charge of that, decided to continue it on, and then we got the second movie, and then the third one, and the fourth one, and they continued it on even more with the digital series, and shorts, and all that stuff. Even the specials, And look at where it's at today. Even when the series was canceled in 2020, it's still being celebrated today. So, if the first movie didn't become successful the way it is, we wouldn't be having Equestria Girls continuing until its cancellation in 2020. So that's why the first movie, to me, deserves more credit than it deserves. And even if you guys maybe still think that it's the weakest out of the next follow-up 3 movies, you still gotta agree that the first movie deserves more credit than what it gets. Because seriously, where would it be today? Or would it be as successful, or would it be where it's at today if the first movie wasn't successful enough? You know what I mean? Like, think about it. Think about if Equestria Girls was a one-time only project and didn't become as big as it did today. While there are still some mixed opinions even till this very day over Equestria Girls, the first movie still deserves way more credit than it deserves. It really does. It really, really, really does. And it was so, and you know what? Fans loved it enough that when it was canceled in 2020 because DHX Media decided to leave Hasbro to become Wild Brain Studios to produce other kids shows, and without their deal being, made, Hasbro was forced to cancel everything that they did with the DHX Media because they didn't have the sponsorship to continue on with it without DHX Media. So that included the cancellation of Equestria Girls, as well as a new MLP Generation 4 series that was going at the time called Pony Life, which a lot of people didn't really like that much, but still. But, without DHX Media, Hasbro couldn't continue on anything without a shared sponsorship with them. So, that's why it was canceled. But still, what I'm trying to say is that the Equestria Girls had enough of a fan base that when it was canceled in 2020, fans were very disappointed that it should have received a proper ending like the Friendship is Magic series did in 2019, 1 year prior. It received a proper ending, like it had a very, end of an era ending, while Equestria Girls didn't. It was canceled. But fans think that it should have, because it was that good enough that there was enough of a fan base. And fans, even till this very day, even still wish it'd be back. Some fans are still hoping that maybe Equestria Girls will be reborn one day. Maybe Hasbro will remake it, and maybe it'll finally return with a third season, but I doubt it. Because, without DHX Media, I don't know how it's possible that they could, but, you never know. Anything's possible in life. I mean, some fans, when I released the trailer for my series, We Will Meet Equestria Girls, some fans were super excited over me and Alex's series, that some were thinking that maybe if our series is successful enough, it could maybe even convince Hasbro to maybe perhaps bring Equestria Girls back, which I seriously doubt that. It would be kind of cool if that was actually possible, but I seriously doubt it because, ours is just a fan-made series. But it would be interesting if that was actually to be possible, but I seriously doubt it. So if it doesn't happen, that's fine, this is just a fan-made series, that's all, But I get why some fans have so much belief in our series, you know what I mean? Like, I get it. I totally get it. And for them to have so much belief to thinking that maybe our series could convince Hasbro to remake Equestria Girls, bring it back, that's kind of saying a lot from those people, you know what I mean? Like, I remember looking in the comments, and I remember seeing some comments saying that. And for them to say that really is a lot, you know what I mean? It's a lot for them to be saying that, even if it actually never happens. That's still a big compliment, sort of, you know what I mean? But yeah, still, even though I've already finished the story about how I became a Brony and an MLP fan a long time ago, I just thought I'd explain some extra stuff to you just to tell you about how I personally think the first Equestria Girls movie deserves more credit than it does. So, that's my opinion. That's all I got left to say. I could explain some more, but I'm done. I told you all the stories, so I'm out of here for the day, ladies and gentlemen. I still really wish I'd have an answer to when episode 2 of We Will Meet Equestria Girls will be released, but we still have nothing yet. But just stay tuned for whenever it does happen, and I do appreciate for those of you that are being really, really patient. I appreciate it because I know it's been almost half a year now since the first episode was released on August 30th, and it hasn't been anything since. But I appreciate y'all's patience because, there's just things in life that are just happening for Alex in particular that just keeps getting in the way. So, as much as it would be cool to explain to y'all about what's going on and what's maybe halting him from working on episode 2, you guys still wouldn't probably be able to understand in the end, even if him or me, either of us explained, because it's hard to understand, you know what I mean? It really is, But hopefully you guys will look forward to whenever the announcement is made. And that's all I can pretty much say left. There's not really much else left to say, so I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Once again, shout-outs to Blue Bolt for inspiring me to make this video. Hopefully maybe he'll see this. I might even send this to him on Instagram, because why not, since he's the one who inspired me to make this video for you guys. So big shout-outs to Blue Bolt. He's pretty awesome as well. I just checked out a video from him earlier today, which if you haven't seen his recent video on his channel, you should go ahead and check it out right now. He's got good videos as well, so once again, go subscribe to Blue Bolt if you haven't. If you try to search his name up, there's a good chance you might find other YouTubers with the same name. So my advice, if you want to look for Blue Bolt the Brony, search Blue Bolt Brony. That's how I found his channel without finding other other YouTubers with the same name. That's how I found him. So he's got some pretty awesome videos, like there's one awesome video where he talks about the Flash Sentry controversy, and he uploaded a video earlier today talking about where I didn't even know, but there was a canceled Generation 4 MLP movie which I didn't even know about it, and I commented on his video. So once again, go subscribe to him if you haven't yet. He's awesome. And yeah, there's not really that much else to say. I hope you guys enjoyed this little vlog, this little story. I'm glad I can share it with you guys. I'm glad that I eventually decided to do so. Hopefully this video will keep you guys entertained until episode 2 is announced. Just stay tuned, be patient. We'll do the best we can. Alex will do the best that he can. And, hopefully something will come up. That's all I can just say. Like, I know I've kind of said that a few times, but there's really not much else to say. There really isn't. So I'm just going to go ahead and wrap it up. I'll see you guys next time. Hopefully the next video maybe will be the announcement for episode 2. I don't know. But whenever another video comes out on this channel, hope you guys will look forward to it. That's all I got left to say. I'm just going to go ahead and wrap things up. So I'm out of here, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have a good one. Hope you enjoyed this vlog. So once again, stay tuned for when episode 2 is released. And yeah. I think I'm out of here, ladies and gentlemen, so I'll see you whenever another video comes out on this channel. So, hope you guys stay good. Love you guys. Thank you for all the support and everything that you guys have shown on the channel, especially for the YouTube series Where We'll Meet the Equestria Girls. Glad we can bring it to you guys because, this is the biggest dream of my life. Heck, I should even be thankful that I decided not to cancel it when I thought I was going to, when I wasn't sure if I was going to move out of this house or not. But you know what? I'm glad I came to the conclusion that even if the moving did happen, I wanted it to continue no matter what. Because both me and Alex have such a huge dream on this. Like, even Alex doesn't want to give up on this either. Like, this is a big dream for us both, so really means a lot to us. That's all I could say left. But like I said, I'm out of here. Hopefully the announcement for episode 2 will be announced sometime soon on the channel. Just stay tuned for whenever that does. But until then, I'm out of here, ladies and gentlemen. I hope y'all stay good, and I'll see you next time. Peace out. Stay tuned.